After learning everything about taking proper body measurements, the tools that you need as a beginner, and of course taking your first stitch, let's draft your first basic bodice. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. So this is Funny and I teach you how to sew. The tools that I would need is my tape rule, a ruler, probably a pencil or a marker, depending on which particular one you want to use at the time, or a pen. Okay, it depends. So for me, I would prefer to use a pencil. I always love to use a pencil because it's erasable, and also I think using a pencil, it works better for me. So I would use a pencil, and I do hope that you see. Then we also need our measurement. I taught you how to take body measurements, right? So you're going to use the method or the measurements that you took, whether the ones from the mannequin or the ones you took on yourself. You're going to be using it to draft this basic bodice pattern right here. Okay, so without much further ado, let's just get right into it. So the measurement I have here, okay, is a shoulder. Shoulder measurement is 16. And then I have here the shoulder to the bust measurement, which is 9. The shoulder to on the bust. In this basic bodice pattern, we are not going to be using on the bust measurement. So this particular one here is more like, I'm not going to be really using it right away. So I'm going to just go ahead and circle the under bust measurement. I won't be using it because it is called a basic bodice. I won't be needing any bust tightening whatsoever. So here I'm going to have the shoulder to the half length and the shoulder to the hips. Now I want this to be a full basic bodice. Okay, so it's going to be taking from the shoulder down to your hips, right? So we're going to have shoulder to the hips, and then we're going to have the bust round. Okay, I showed you how a bust round, or what a bust round actually looks like. And then we're going to have the half length and then the hip measurement. Then we're going to be using the neck measurement. I'll tell you the reason we're using the neck measurement and what we're going to be doing with it. So let's just go ahead and start the tutorial proper. So I have my pattern paper right here. I would advise you to use a pattern paper when you're learning how to draft a basic bodice. I believe that in this class you don't know how to draft at all. So you only know how to the basic tools, you only know how to take body measurement, and now you're going to place the body measurement on your paper right here. So looking at my pattern paper, I have this pattern paper folded into two. So one side is going to be the front and one side is going to be the back. So I would just go ahead and do this, and after that I would spread it wide open like this. Then we have our back and we have the front. So preferably I always like to start with the front measurement or the front drafting, right? So let's start with the neck measurement. That is the first measurement I am going to be starting with. If you do not already know how to draft different basic necklines, I have a tutorial on the channel on how to draft different types of necklines. So I'm going to leave the link in the description. Do well to check that tutorial out to help you draft different types of necklines. But for the sake of this class, I'll show you how to draft a round neckline again. Now I have 15 for my neckline here. You already know how to measure your neck, right? Now this is what we call the neck width. So this is a neck, this is a neckline of a dress, right? And this part right here is called the neck width. Well, this part right here is called the neck depth. So how deep the neck goes down is the depth, and how wide the neck is the width. So now what is the formula to finding the neck width and the neck depth? Perfect neck width and depth. Okay, so now the standard formula to doing this is simple, which is my neck circumference. Okay, a neck circumference which is 15 divided by, to find the, this is for the neck width, is divided by 5. All right, so this point right here is divided by 5. Well, this point right here is divided by 6. I do hope you understand what I am doing. So for the neck width, which is equal to 3, this is for width, okay? And this right here, circumference divided by 6, which is 2.5, is what we're going to be using for what? The neck depth, how deep it is. Okay, so this is the neck depth. So we'll just go ahead using this method to put that down on our pattern paper. If along the line you do not understand what I am teaching, just put your questions down on the comments below. I'm going to be replying to them one after the other. And if there's anything you want me to make clarifications on, you can as well also put that down in the comment section. And I am going to bring solutions to that, okay? I am going to be measuring 3 inches like so. Okay, so this is the easy method, and this is for the front. Okay, so I'm going to be measuring as so, and then I would bring down the tape to measure what? The depth of my neckline, which is 2.5. And after doing this, I would just go ahead and I would use my ruler to draw a line to form a box like so, okay? Now, after drawing a line to form this box, the next thing I am going to do right here is to find the midpoint. So I'm going to place my tape like this, and I'm going to find the midpoint. Why am I finding this midpoint? So the reason I'm finding the midpoint right here is to be able to easily curve my neckline, okay? So this is going to be a round neck, right? It's not going to be a straight or a square neck or rectangular whatsoever. So this is going to be a round neck. And as a beginner, to be able to get this round neck that you're looking for, all you need to do is to just measure the midpoint of both sides. So this is a midpoint of the width, and this is a midpoint of the depth. So now, after measuring this, the next thing I'm going to do is, from this point right here, I would just draft my curve to meet the other, okay? The next thing I am going to do is to measure the shoulder. Take my shoulder measurement, okay? So the shoulder measurement is 16. And to get the shoulder measurement, you're going to divide it by 2. 16 divided by 2, whatever it gives you is what I'll place here. So 16 divided by 2 is, of course, 8. So I'll just take my 8 measurement down here. On this part that I have taken 8, I am going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, and the reason I am coming down by this 1 inch is because if you check the body of a human being, your own body as an example, your shoulder is not straight, okay? Your shoulder is slanted, and being slanted means that for you to get a perfect fit or perfect fitting for your shoulder, it has to slope down the way your shoulder is. So that's the reason I am taking this 1 inch down here. So I would take this 1 inch from here and I'll draft a line to meet up with this neck line. Okay, so basically this is how the shoulder is supposed to be. I hope you understand up to that point. Now, after doing this, I would go ahead to get my armhole depth. The armhole is basically the place around your armpits, right? We call that armhole. So I'm going to be getting the depth of that place. Finding your armhole depth is as simple as taking your shoulder measurement and placing it down here. What you had here, I had 8, right? So I'm going to take that 8 and I would place it down here. Now, when you're placing it, make sure you place it after you've drawn the line, not above the line. Have you seen how my tape is placed? So I'm going to just place it on the line, and I would just go ahead and draw a line to meet up right here with what I had marked. Okay, so I'm going to just extend the line to this point as so. Now, if you touch your armpit, you would know that the front armpit and that of the back is not the same. Remember, all we're looking for is a perfect fit for your dress. We've noticed that the front armpit is always smaller than that of the back, okay? So in this case, I am going to come in by half an inch. So to do that, I would just place my tape right here and I would find the midpoint. Now, how do I find the midpoint? Place your tape down here and fold it into two. Folding it into two as so is going to leave me with the midpoint. The next thing I am going to do is to come in here by half an inch. So this is me coming in here by half an inch. Okay, so after coming in by half an inch, I am going to draw a line to meet up with this point and also take it out as so. So basically, this is what I am going to do right. And of course, you know that the armpit is not straight as well. So this is definitely how your armpit would. All right, so this is it for our armhole depth, shoulder and neck line. And I would go ahead and place my shoulder to bust, shoulder to half length, and shoulder to hip measurement. So now the next thing we're going to do is to place our darts right here. Okay, so now what is a dart, if you're asked? A dart is basically a kind of tightening that you have between your bust and your hip line to give you a perfect fit at that point, okay? So now to get your dart, measure your nipple to nipple measurement. So I showed you how to take a nipple to nipple measurement on your mannequin tutorial. So if you don't know how to do that, please go back to that video and check it out, okay? So I have taken my nipple to nipple measurement and I had 7. So when you have 7, you're going to divide it by 2. Whatever you have after taking your nipple to nipple measurement, divide it by 2. So I'm dividing it by 2 and this is giving me 3.5. So this is the part in which I am going to be marking for my dart. So I'll just go ahead and mark my 3.5 inches across both my bust line, my waistline, and of course my hip line, because those are the 3 lines that I'm going to be working with to get my dart. I don't want my dart to start from the very point of my nipple, okay? So I want it to come down a bit. So it's going to be starting 1 inch below my bust point, and then on the hip line also I'm going to be using 1 inch right here below, or 1 inch above my hip line. So 1 inch below my bust point and 1 inch above my hip line. So I'm going to go ahead and I will draw a straight line to meet up with all the points right here that I have marked. Now on this waistline, I'm going to be going out by half an inch on both sides, okay? My advice to you is when you're drawing your half an inch, okay, at this point right here, do not use here, because here is actually 2 inches and 0.2 inch or 0.1 inch bigger than this part right here because of this small rod here, okay? So just place it in between like this, you get the same thing. And then from this point, I'm going to just slant, draw a slanted line to meet up with this point as so. It is not hard. You just have to look at what I am doing and you would understand. So I have my darts right here. And after that, I'm going to go ahead and just place my measurements right here, okay? So this is it for the bust line measurement, okay? Bust measurement, my bust measurement was 9 inches and my half length was 7.5 inches and then my hip line 9.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that. Now on the half length, remember you took out about 1 inch. You're going to replace the 1 inch over here, and whatever you have, you're going to be marking it right here. And then after doing that, I'm just going to add extra 1 inch allowance for the stitching purpose, okay? And then I can decide at the end here, I'll just take it down or have a cuff, whatsoever I want to do there. So I'll just use my ruler right here and I would connect the lines. Now, after getting this, the next I'm going to do is to just go ahead and draft the back pattern. Okay, so I'm going to be drafting the back pattern as so. Now, the only difference between the back pattern is the neckline, the zipper, and the armhole. Okay, so you're going to just see it. I'll just go ahead and extend my line together as so. Okay, right here, so I am just going to go ahead and draft it faster. So first and foremost, the very first thing I'm going to do right here is to draft the zip allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here all through by 1 inch for the zipper allowance. All right, so this is it. Okay, as so. And then I have here the zipper allowance, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark here my zip allowance. This is a zipper allowance. Okay, all right, so this is our zipper allowance right here. So now we'll go ahead and draft the back measurement. Okay, to get the back measurement, I would start as usual with the neckline right here. For the back and the front, the neck width is always the same. Okay, the neck width, remember, this is what we call the neck width, so it's always the same. It will always remain the same, which is 3. I would use here 3. But for the neck depth of the back neckline, the back neckline's neck, okay, I don't know if you understand the grammar, the back neckline depth is definitely always higher than that of the front neck depth. Okay, so at this point here, I am going to be going in by 1.5 inches. I went in the other one by 2.5 inches, remember, but this particular one is 1.5 inches, and that is for the back neckline. So I'll just draw a line like I did for the first, as so, and I would measure or drag the line together to form a rectangle, just like I did before. Now, after doing this, the next thing I am going to do is to just go ahead and maybe do the same thing I did before. So just find the midpoint right here and find the midpoint right here. This is not really necessary if you can draft the line or if you can draft your curve perfectly. But for you as a beginner, I think it's actually necessary, okay? So I will just go ahead using this line that I did here. I will just draft to meet up with each other. Okay, so this is it for the back neckline. It's that easy. Once you know what necklines do and how to get both the neck width and the neck circumference, everything else becomes easy for you. Now, after doing this, I will just go ahead and I will measure my shoulder, 8 inches, okay? Shoulder measurement. Now, remember, whatever measurement you're taking, this is not included, okay? So you're not taking it on this part like so. You're taking it after the zipper line. So this is going to be your zipper line. You're not cutting this out, but I'm just doing this so that you know that this is not where you start your measurement. All right, so now after doing this, of course, I'm going to just go ahead and take the shoulder measurement. So I don't need to explain why I'm taking the shoulder measurement again, because I did the explanation when I was drafting the front. So all you need to do is to just go ahead and repeat the same thing you did for the front for the back.
Now for the armhole depth, I'm going to repeat the same thing I did. So I'll place my tape right here and fold it into 2 to find the midpoint. Then after doing that, I would go in by 0.2 inches. Now the first one I went in by 0.5 inches. Remember I said that the back is actually a bit deeper, or should I say bigger than that of the front. So doing that would actually give me the appropriate look that I want. And then after that, I'll just go ahead and draft my curve. Now, just like I did for the front, I am going to be taking in the darts, and everything is just like the same thing, okay, for the darts. So I'll just be repeating the same thing right here. So now if you have a question or if there's anything you do not understand, reach out to me via a message on WhatsApp. Of course, if you're in the group that I had opened for people to learn freely, you can ask me questions there. And if you'd like to join the group, I will drop a link right here so that you can join the group. And also, after taking my darts, I would just go ahead right here and I would take the measurement, okay? So after the neckline, the next thing that I'm going to do on the back is actually almost the same as that of the front. So I'll just go ahead and mark my measurement right here, and everything is ready. So we have my front and my back pattern ready as so. Now, there's something you should understand. If you're working on a dress, you can actually cut the front first and also cut the back separately, okay? So a normal dress is not going to look like this. Right after I am done, you can go ahead and just trim out from where we have the zipper allowance, okay? So that you can have your back and then you can have your front. It's as simple as this. There are no two ways about it. It is very simple, and you can use this to actually make your first dress and alter it to make even more beautiful dresses. And in the next class, I am going to show you how to stitch this basic dress, okay, on a fabric. So get prepared, get your fabric together, because we're going to be stitching. All right, you can decide to get cotton materials or whatsoever material you have, so that we can do our basic dress for the very first time. I know you're excited, and I am also excited too. So see you in the next class, and remember to always practice, because practice makes a lot of perfection. Bye.